I'm Billy C for Twinstiq.com. This is Twin Peaks, and today we're going to be taking a look at Cannon Fodder, an action strategy game developed by Sensible Software. Originally home on the Amiga, the game was ported to DOS later, and that's the version we're going to be playing today. The game has a dark tone with some light-hearted elements that work together to really kind of make you think about the nature of war. For instance, the score screen at the top here, you've got home and away, just like kind of a simple soccer game. But this mountain will eventually be filled with graves from our dead soldiers. You have a certain number of recruits that you get for each new mission you do, and you can only bring a certain number in your squad, so these guys have to wait. Now, as these two die, we'll actually have more of these people come in, and each new level will get more, and this will fill up. But like I said, this will become a graveyard eventually. Heroes is where you're going to see all of your past dead soldiers, and it gets pretty emotional. All of your soldiers have rank. They go, they move up in rank for each mission, but it doesn't really affect them. It's not levels. They're not gaining more power. They're not gaining more accuracy. It doesn't do anything for them. It's just that they each have an individual name and a rank. So after you've gotten one soldier through several tough missions, you actually kind of become emotionally attached to them. And then when they die, it's pretty devastating. Now, you can see my soldiers down here. To move around, you just click on an area and your guys move there, kind of like, think of that game Worm. And they just run in a conga line. Now, to shoot, you hold down the right mouse button to fire. Just like that. In order to throw a grenade, you can hold down the right mouse button and you press the left mouse button, you'll throw a grenade. This is necessary to destroy houses or any kind of structure like that. And most missions are simply kill all the enemies and destroy the buildings. The buildings will spew forth more enemies, so it's a good idea to take them out as quickly as possible, but you will need to find and use your grenades. In addition, there's also a rocket launcher you can get, but I haven't had too much time with that. The rocket launching enemies, on the other hand, can take out your entire team in one shot if you're not careful. Now see, we've got more guys coming down because we've gone on to the next mission. We haven't lost anybody yet. You can see that Jules has 3 kills and Jops has 0. That's because the person in the head of the squad will always get the kills for that squad. It's just simply how it is. I don't necessarily like it. I don't think anybody does, but that's how it is. So like I said, all the missions are basically just kill all the enemies, just like this, kill all the enemies, and most of them later on will have destroy all the buildings as well. And you have a certain number of recruits at the bottom there, 27 recruits remaining for this level. If I lose 27 soldiers on this level, plus the 3 I'm currently having, then I lose the game. Game over. But if I make it through, I'll get some replenishments. So it's an interesting way to do it, and seeing the soldiers, the recruits line up beforehand really kind of makes it more impactful when you can watch them walk into the barracks and become your next soldier. It's pretty cool. It's an interesting idea. Now, the game itself it's very simple, the concept behind it. And the early levels are extremely easy. Now, the later levels become exercises in frustration often, especially once you get into areas with rocket launcher enemies. Like I said, they can take out your entire team in one shot, and so often it'll be a good idea, for instance, right here, we'll take Stu, and we'll separate him from the group. Because if the rocket launch guy shoots at him and hits right behind him, then he won't have a trail of people following him, and so they won't all die. And if it hits him directly, I don't lose my entire squad. And see, now I'm at phase 2 of 2. So some missions have phases that you have to go through in order to complete the entire mission and get back to a save point. So we still have 27 recruits remaining because we haven't finished this mission. So let's go in, we'll kill all the enemies, and then we'll destroy all the buildings. Or at least that's what we'll try to do. Now, this is the GOG.com version. There are other versions out there. It would be in your best interest if you have an Amiga to play it on the Amiga. I hear that the audio is just much better. In addition, on this version, the one I've been playing on GOG, there are some weird audio issues, and I'm not sure how many of them are supposed to be there, but some of them definitely aren't. For instance, sometimes you'll just hear gunshots randomly, even though nobody is shooting at anybody. And it's not a deal breaker. See, right there. Just gunshots, and I don't know what's going on. It's not a deal breaker, but it just seems out of place. And it might have been what they were going for originally so that it felt like a war zone, but I can't speak to that. I never played the original Amiga version. So we're going through this pretty quickly. Like I said, the first couple levels are very easy, and your range is actually pretty dang good, so you don't have to worry too much about that. Now here, this crate right here, that's full of grenades. I can shoot it and explode this whole area, which is what I need to do, or I could go pick up the grenades and use the grenades to throw a grenade there. But we can't carry them between levels, missions, so we're just going to go ahead and move a little bit closer and shoot this thing down. And there we go. Now you see the roof flew off here and actually exploded over here. If that had hit one of my guys, it would have killed me. And look, I lost a guy. I'm down a man because of the explosion. I was probably a little bit too close. You've got to be very careful with that, and it's extremely frustrating when you throw a grenade fairly far away from you and it blows up and the roof of the building hits one of your guys and kills him. So this is our first lost in service screen. This shows you who we lost. We lost Jules, our highest ranking soldier, the first one we had when we came into this game. Now, he didn't get very far, so we're not very attached to him. But if he had survived several pretty hectic missions, then maybe we would be a little more, you know, upset about his loss. But you'll see he's got a gravestone now. And he was a low-level or low-ranking soldier, so he just gets a simple cross. Home team has 48 points, and away team has 1. And now look at this. We got a nice line. We just recruited 2 more people. And our heroes, Jules. Poor Jules. He had 44 kills, which is pretty impressive. We're going to go ahead and save because we want to make sure that we can get back here if we die. Let's go in. There are multiple different areas you can go to. For the most part, you're going to be split up between 3 different area types. You've got the jungle that reminds me of Vietnam. You've got the Arctic area like this. And then, of course, you've got a desert environment. Let's get down here. Now, we need to destroy all these people and all these buildings. Unfortunately, though, we don't have any grenades. The grenades are in this building down here, which is what we're going to go try to do. But if we accidentally, see, we have to start the game over. Because that's the only grenades in the level. So without those, we can't actually destroy the other buildings, which means we were screwed. It's very frustrating, actually. It's not the most well-designed way to do it, I feel. I think that you should start with maybe barely enough grenades to get what you need to do to destroy all the buildings if you got like a perfect shot, and then maybe a couple extras down here if you need to pick them up. Because see, they come out, and we almost have to sacrifice, we did have to sacrifice a person just so we didn't shoot the crates. And it's annoying, but throw a grenade, blow it up. Ooh. Did we lose another guy? Nope, we still got 3. Okay, we almost lost another guy because of the exploding roof syndrome. Whew. This game was also released. It was mainly for the PC and the Amiga. Those are the 2 main systems it was released for. But it was also ported to the Sega Genesis. It was ported to a couple other consoles, I believe. So if you want to check those out, definitely check those out. However, I think that a game like this, the way it's designed, is it's designed to be played with a mouse. And I can't imagine it working extremely well on a controller. The ice does make you slide sometimes if you try and stop in a certain area. Sometimes your guys will just keep sliding a little bit, and it can make for a pretty hectic fight. In addition, some of the areas have NPCs that aren't necessarily hostile, just natives to the area, like in the Vietnam jungles. And you can kill them, but it's best if you don't. If you start killing them, eventually they'll turn on you and start attacking. But if you don't attack them first, then they'll leave you alone, which is pretty nice. But the enemy units will sometimes use their huts as hiding places, so you'll have to destroy those and they'll get kind of mad. So we've lost Jops. We've now lost the 2 highest ranking soldiers, the 2 starting soldiers. They always have the same names, and we've lost them now. We've got more people. Now, if we had lost more soldiers, we would have a shorter line here, and then we wouldn't have quite as many going all the way back here. But we didn't lose too many, and see, this guy, Jops was slightly higher rank, so he got a slightly better tombstone. Home team's got 100, and away team's got 2. We'll finish this last one up, and there's not really much else after this. There's not a bunch of new things that are going to crop up. There are a few small, simple additions to the game. One of the levels, or a few of the levels, have vehicles that you can take and drive around. And they are kind of death traps. I mean, it's kind of interesting and cool that you can do it, but it's generally not your best bet, at least in my experience. Oh, we need to actually gather some grenades before we can destroy that building. So we'll just keep going down here. You can also, in addition, you can pan the camera around at least a little bit by just moving to the edge of the screen and trying to see what's around, and you'll eventually need to use that more once you get to areas that have the grenadiers and the rocket launcher enemies. Because if you don't, they'll see you long before you see them, and you'll get a rocket to your squad mates, and they'll all die in one shot. And it's really frustrating when that happens. In fact, Mission 5 is really where things start getting very difficult. Mission 8 is even worse, but if you can get past Mission 5, you have a chance of beating the game. If you cannot get past Mission 5, then it's really not going to be for you. It's a fun game, but again, it is very simple. You're not going to be doing a bunch of different things. This is it. You're going to be running around, pointing at areas, having your soldiers move to it, and then shooting anybody you see. Now, there are certain landmarks, or not landmarks, but environmental hazards. Like, for instance, we're swimming through the water. We can't shoot enemies until we get out of the water. It also makes us a lot slower, which means once you get into areas that have rocket launcher enemies, things start getting much more difficult to survive. Let's go get this grenades, because we're going to want extra in case. And then come back far enough that hopefully we won't die when it explodes. Okay. So yes, you will eventually want to be very careful and split up your units into, split up your teams into multiple units, sometimes just one guy, so that if he dies to a rocket launcher that you didn't even know was there, you're not going to lose your entire squad. Because you can complete a mission with just one soldier remaining. In fact, I've done it multiple times. It feels pretty good to have that one guy scrape by, like your entire squad dies early in the game, and then your one soldier gets by and manages to take out the rest of the enemies, and it feels pretty good. We didn't destroy that. We did damage to the building, but we didn't actually destroy it, so we gotta throw another grenade. And we didn't destroy it again. That's really frustrating. There we go. Alright, so phase complete. And this one, I believe, has four phases. 4 phases. Okay, so again, with 4 soldiers, kill all enemies, destroy all enemy buildings. It's not much different. That's all you're going to get. Every single match is going to be the exact same as far as just killing soldiers. Now, I don't have a problem with that. This was an older game and very interesting for the time. I think it's very interesting, the idea that you've got these soldiers that have names and ranks, and you kind of get attached to them, and then you see them die, and then you have a little memorial service kind of thing, and then you have a graveyard, and the soldiers that you're bringing in are lined up around the graveyard to be brought into the army. It's, if you think about it, if you sit down and actually think about it, it's actually kind of moving, which is surprising for an older game like this. I mean, you generally didn't find stuff like that, especially, you know, war commentaries of that nature, in older games like this. You expect to see something like that in, Spec Ops: The Line, but maybe not so much here. And a lot of it is what you read into it. If you're not paying any attention, you're just going around killing things, then it may not have any effect on you at all. But if you're really paying attention, then, see, the audio is messed up. You're hearing all these grunts and shoots. You're hearing all these grunts and shots. However, nobody's getting shot. Nobody's around. So the DOS version is a little buggy. I haven't run into any serious issues yet. Nothing that stopped me from playing the game. However, it is there. The audio problems are an issue, if you really care about that. I've managed to pretty much ignore it for the most part, but some people might not be able to. Oh, see, I killed a civilian. Now, that won't automatically make the indigenous peoples angry with me because, hey, casualties happen in war. However, if I kill a bunch of them, then yes, they will start getting very mad at me. This has a door, so that means that enemy soldiers are hiding in there. So we're going to blow it up, and we're getting close to the end of this level. We probably just need to find the last soldiers and take them out. So we'll go up here. And this is one of the problems with the game. Toward the end of a level, depending on how big the level is, it can often be just a matter of hide and seek. Going back around, finding the last of the enemies and killing them. So that's pretty much it for Cannon Fodder. This has been Billy C for Twinstiq.com. Make sure to check us out for all of your video game news, editorials, reviews, everything you could possibly want. Follow me on Twitter at Amuntoth, AMUNTOTH. Make sure you follow Twinstiq as well at Twinstiq. And then if you're watching this on YouTube or any place that has likes and subscribes, go ahead and give us some of those. Thank you again for watching. Good night.